From the gas leak by Union Carbide that claimed thousands of lives in 1984, to the widespread environmental damage and human rights abuses caused by Shell plc in the Niger Delta region of Nigeria.
Experts say that 50 years of oil spills in the Delta have destroyed not only the livelihoods of over 20 million people living there.
There have only been a handful of megacorporations to wreak havoc across multiple continents and get away with it. Among these corporations stands Nestlé. A corporation so big that it ignorantly caused the death of thousands of babies, contributed massively to extreme child labor, hospitalized Indians in the thousands, and single-handedly induced drought in California, Pakistan, and several other locations, all in the name of amassing huge profits. And they are still doing this all over the world and profiting billions from it daily. This leads us to the driving question: how does Nestlé make so much wrong in this world and still come out on top like it never happened? But first, who is Nestlé? Nestlé isn't your regular mega corporation. With over 339,000 employees spread across 189 countries, Nestlé has established itself by raking in an annual net income of over $11.2 billion. Which, as a standalone point, is incredibly impressive, as only a few brands in the food processing spaces, like the likes of PepsiCo, Coca-Cola, have reached such remarkable success themselves. But how did they get here? Turning the pages of history 119 years back in 1905, Nestlé was formed by the merger of two competing Swiss enterprises, the Anglo-Swiss Condensed Milk Company and Farine Lactée Honorée Nestlé. Due to the nutritional needs of soldiers and the longer shelf life featured in canned and powdered milk, the First World War brought about a huge increase in the demand for dairy products. As a result, Nestlé doubled the production quantity, producing over 250,000 pounds of milk daily. After World War I, Nestlé expanded into new products like the white chocolate called Gallic, one of their most profitable products at the time. World War I brought Nestlé millions of dollars in profit, but after the war, there was a growing need to expand their customer base. You see, back in the 1970s, Nestlé's primary customers were non-lactating mothers, women who had recently given birth but for some reason are not producing breast milk. The challenge with this target market was that non-lactating mothers represented only a small percentage of the overall population of mothers. However, if they could attract lactating mothers to their product, their profits would significantly increase. Is marketing evil, or is it the marketer? Marketing can be beautiful when used to persuade people to do good things, like wash their hands before performing surgery. Marketing is magical if it sells a product the customer finds useful and productive and is happy using it. Marketing is evil when it's used to manipulate and push lies to the general public. And one of the main truths of marketing is just because you can market something doesn't mean you should. But hey, in an ideal world, that would have been the norm. In reality, marketing is just a tool to benefit the marketer, and Nestlé uses this tool to its extreme. Starting with the need to expand their customer base, this is the sad story about poverty, breastfeeding, and greed. It's common knowledge that breast milk is most nutritious and necessary for the healthy growth of a baby. For Nestlé to bring lactating mothers into their customer base, they have to change the notion that their milk was the best, better than nature's own milk for the well-being of babies. In reality, their milk wasn't remotely a good substitute for breast milk, being a product of cow's milk, but it didn't deter them. The proteins and fat in human milk differ considerably from those of cow's milk, differences which are important to the digestibility of milk by infant. Infant milk manufacturers nowadays admit that their products are just approximations of the real thing. Their marketing was aggressive. They dominated commercials and advertisement media to spread their message, especially in third world countries in Africa, where many mothers were illiterate and unaware of the severe impact their decisions could have on their infants' lives. They even incentivized doctors and nurses to promote their products through bribes. The milk companies rely on promotion directed at the doctor and nurse to get their share of the market among the upper income mothers who usually seek doctors' advice on artificial feeding. Their sales went through the roof, but they didn't stop there. Nestlé's Superior Milk campaign involves sharing a limited free sample of their baby formula which covered a period just long enough for many mothers to stop lactating, leaving them without any alternatives once their free supply was exhausted. Poorer mothers who couldn't afford any more samples diluted their baby formula with water, which further placed the infant at risk of infection or death. This is because many of these mothers lacked access to clean, safe water, hence, they weren't only diluting a malnourished baby formula, but they were doing so with contaminated water. This formula led to the death of babies in the hundreds, thereby earning the company with the title Baby Killer. When all of these atrocities became known to the public, it was a nationwide boycott of the Nestlé products. In the end, they claimed to comply with WHO regulations to win the trust of the public once again. This mission to win the public's trust might have been successful if not for the fact that their atrocities on the public didn't end with the baby killer. In spite of a huge hit this put on the Nestlé reputation, they didn't stop. In the world of business, margins rule every day. And what better way to keep your board members and investors happy than by achieving the highest margin possible? The only question is, how far can a company go to achieve this? In the case of Nestlé, two approaches were taken to keep their margins ever rising. Among the 2,000 plus brands under the Nestlé Corporation is Nestlé Pure Life, one of the leading producers of bottled water. Water scarcity is a subject of serious debate in Pakistan, often leading to riots and long queues at rare public wells. The water levels have sunk hundreds of feet since Nestlé Pure Life began sourcing its water there, leaving the gross and contaminated water for the locals. According to the UN, contaminated water contributes to 40% of the deaths in Pakistan annually. And Pakistan isn't the only victim of the Pure Life company. Citizens of California have raised their voices over the unregulated and indiscriminate siphoning of water from the San Bernardino National Forest. The CEO of Nestlé further said that he would pump more water from the first if he could, showing no regards for the residents of the city. Nestlé waters not only contribute to the drought experience in multiple cities, but also contribute heavily to landfills which pollute the environment. In an attempt to cover their tracks, they made a full-page advertisement in 2008 stating that most water bottles avoid landfill sites and are recycled. Bottled water is the most environmentally responsible consumer product in the world, and Nestlé Pure Life is a healthy, eco-friendly choice. The company's water disputes in California reflect similar conflicts in Oregon, Pennsylvania, Maine, and Michigan. They've been accused of lobbying local and federal officials to their advantage. And the result? Nestlé sells a wide range of chocolate goods, the likes of Kit Kat, Munch, and Milky Bar. To produce these goods, cocoa is necessary, but the production is from ethically questionable suppliers who exploit children into swinging machetes, spraying pesticides, and carrying loads of up to 100 pounds for nearly non-existent wages in West Africa. Having such a workforce in their operation increased margins and productivity as more work was done for less. Of course, Nestlé isn't the only company outsourcing child labor for their cocoa production. Several other chocolate companies do the same, but as the largest food company in the world, it bears a somewhat outsized responsibility to ensure it avoids such practices. In 2005, a lawsuit case was filed against Nestlé by 6 Malians, identified by their pseudonym as John Doe 1 through 6. These children, aged 12 to 14, were trafficked at an incredibly young age and subjected to harsh living conditions on the plantations, forced under threats of violence to work up to 14 hours a day without any pay. However, after 5 long years of battling, the lawsuit was dismissed by the district court in 2010. However, this didn't go unnoticed. The public were finally hearing about the atrocities committed by Nestlé. The former assistant vice president for the global food safety at Nestlé said, "For the last 15 years, I have been trying to raise awareness about the wrongdoings of the giant food company, Nestlé." And in 2015, shocking revelations emerged about Nestlé's prime brand, Maggi. It was discovered that Maggi contained elevated levels of lead and MSG beyond the legal limits. Continuous intake at such high levels can cause health problems such as neurological issues, kidney failure, weakened immune systems, cardiovascular disease, and so much more. This prompted India to file a lawsuit against Nestlé, seeking nearly 100 million in damages for violating food safety standards. Subsequently, to salvage what was left of their reputation, Nestlé simply withdrew Maggi from the market so they could ensure their safety for consumption. The sad reality is, despite everything they have done, the laws they have broken, the lives they have destroyed, and the people they have killed, Nestlé make everything. And as much as everyone would love to see them go, some companies seem immortal.